Hello there, I'm Olanrewaju Kolawole, and I welcome you to this episode of Equipping Writers. Quite a number of people have reached out to me to help them with their writing goals and their writing dreams. The first thing I would like to say is that by the grace of God, I'm an author of over 20 books. And one of the things that I've learned is that without a system, you cannot guarantee the repetition of results. The way it is in mechanics is the same it is in physics. The way it is in science is the same way it is even in the realm of writing. Writing is an art. Writing requires a system. You must understand what works. This is why I tell people, when you want to learn important things, you have to go to those who don't only talk about writing, but have written books, have published the books, and the books are selling and making impact. So I want to give you very quickly here tips for writing, or you can call it writing tips. Writing tips. I'm going to start from the basic, and in other episodes, I'll walk you through, other very heavy duty details. Firstly, you must understand that to be able to write for impact, you must read a lot. Quality thoughts is not easy to come by. It is when you read a lot that you have the opportunity to be exposed to a higher level of thinking. And after a while, those authors begin to rub off on you, such that the bar is raised. You may not even know, but after a while, you will notice that the bar is raised. So number one writing tip is read a lot. When you read a lot, you would have the opportunity to also have a lot of ideas. Some would be good and some will be bad. In fact, I have read books that were very poor, and what I learned from those books is how not to write a book. So you must read a lot. That's tip number one. Read a lot. Whether it is in the realm of fiction or in the realm of non-fiction, you must read a lot. If you're writing novels or you're writing self-help books, all right, or books that have to do with principles of life, apologetics, theology, success, you must read a lot. So, for example, if I want to write on success, what I want to do is I want to find out the leading authors in the realm of success. Now, you're going to have a lot of authors, but there will be some whose name have been etched, all right, sort of, because people, when you hear the name, it rings a bell. You want to go for the best authors who know their work well. And as you read their works, you would learn from them, not mainly to plagiarize, but to be able to see how they think, the arrangement of their books, how they release their thoughts. It is just going to have a rub-off effect on you to fine-tune you. Number two tip for writing is write a lot. You must read a lot and you must write a lot. Voracious readers will eventually have a better chance to write more books, because your brain and your mind is like a reservoir of knowledge. When you read a lot and you process and think through the things that you are reading, after a while, it will begin to precipitate, into ideas. And if you read a lot, but you don't write a lot, you are not on your way to being an author. In fact, I'll put it to you, from primary school at an early age, you've already started writing. Then later you needed to learn how to write. But as you mature and you want to release books, you find out that it's the same thing, but not in the same level. To write a lot, you must make time to write. To write a lot, you have to make time to write. Listen, 24 hours seem not to be enough, even for authors. But you must make time to write. Why? You care about the message you want to pass across to the world. Oh, but I'm very busy. The ideas are just there. I scribbled them down. Scribbling it down is good, but you must develop the thoughts. All right? So read a lot, write a lot. Number three, don't write what you don't have feelings for. Don't write what you don't care about. For example, if you told me to write on how to score a goal in a football match, I'm not cut out for that. I may watch football if there is time for that, but I will not write a book on how to score a goal. Why? It's not my niche. It's not something I'm passionate about. If you called me and asked me, write on theology, write on doctrine, write on, quite some Christian living, issues, and I would want to write on that. I'm passionate about it. Okay. I'm releasing a book in a few days now, Conji, that has to do with the subject of sexual purity, the emotions and the soul. I care about it, and it pushed me to invest time. Listen, anything you care about, you will sacrifice to birth it. If you care about that book and you're truly serious about it, you will not just mouth your desire, you will get to work. If you care about it, you will not just mouth your desire, you will get to work. So read a lot. Write a lot. That is very important. Now, someone may ask, for example, how is your day? You cannot compare my day with your day. What you do in 24 hours will depend on your age limit, right? Where you are in life. For example, if you are unmarried or you are single, you are young, you are in your 20s, you are an undergraduate in school, the chances are that you may still have some free time compared to a nursing mother that is also, working, that is married, would have to take care of her husband, and many things are in play. So you cannot judge your level of effectiveness in your writing goal by how I write or the time I invest. I may invest 8 hours a day in thinking and writing. I may invest 5 hours a day in reading. You may not have the luxury of 5 hours a day. All right. There may be days when you have that, but it's not going to be much. Why? You're not a full-time writer. You're not a full-time author. Okay. And so you want to manage yourself. So what I tell people is try to at least write 5 to 7 pages every day. The average book has about maybe from 5 to 11 to 20 to 30 chapters, depending on the volume and the quality of the substance you want to put there. But you need to know that from 100 to 300 pages takes at least a month or 2 or even 3 to get done with. Now, if you're doing 7 pages a day, knowing fully well that even after 3 months, there is the likelihood that before 3 months is over, the fuel has gone down, right? Sometimes the juice for that work is no more there. When you get to such point, there is what to do, and I would explain that later. But for now, decide to write 5 to 7 pages every day on that particular subject. Don't write on happiness today and next week you're writing on how to eat. All those disjointed thoughts does not make for a quality book. You want to stay on the thought. I am writing on why women are not getting it right in their relationships. As you think, now, one of the ways you will know that that idea is worth taking to the press is that as you think about it, it expands. As you think about it, you just begin to see branches. You just begin to see how some things connect. Now, what do? You itemize those points. Once you have some outline to work with, you can begin. As you begin, because writing is an art, as you begin, sometimes there will be inspiration. Some ideas that you would not have come across while doing research, you would find some things. And then you will discover other windows. But if you're not disciplined, you are likely going to now chase many rabbits and then forget about what you're writing. So number 1 is read a lot. Number 2 is write a lot. Number 3, do not write what does not interest you. Because if it does not move you, it will not scratch the reader. Number 4. So I've said you should write an average of 5 to 7 pages a day. I'm just giving you the basics for now. Learn to communicate via the right choice of words. Be that writer or that author that has a very good grasp of words. Rather than saying they are turning all around and around and around and around, you're sounding too simplistic. You want to say they are circumlocuting. Now, don't be too simplistic such that your readers seem to be abused or seem to be taken for granted. There is a way you can abuse the intelligence of your readers, and they are like, are you saying we don't? I mean, this is too. So you should be simple, but not simplistic. All right. So you want to maintain some level of, listen, people should read your book and learn new words. But remember, your book is not a thesaurus. Your book is not an encyclopedia. Your book is not a dictionary. You know, about 2 years ago, I read a Christian book and I learned how not to write a Christian book. Every page of that book has at least 4 heavy-duty, long and new words. And I was wondering, are we in a brighter grammar, study class, or are we reading the book to be edified? So you want to throw in solid, good words, carefully chosen and well-crafted words. Now, if you say, well, I'm not too good with, grammar and lexicon and English, listen, one of the things to do is you must begin to get friendly, all right, with dictionary. Get familiar with dictionary. Buy one. Open it. Play around words. Oh, words in letter A, words in letter B. As you read those words, memorize their meanings, and try to use them in sentences, you become acquainted, all right? You see, the Bible says a word fitly spoken, right? He also says how forcible are right words. When you use the right words, it makes sense. Have you had a time where you're having a conversation with your friend or your loved one, and you want to say something, you want to say stigmatize, but you're saying they are making them feel bad, they are making there's somebody now say stigmatize. There's what you say, that is the word. It happens to me a lot. Someone is talking to me and I just drop that word, he say yes. Now that's because that's my craft. I'm an author, I'm a writer. You must give yourself, see, words are the tools of not only a preacher, but an author, a writer. If you are not committed to learning new words, after a while, your work is going to be too dry. It's going to fall flat on its face. So be familiar and be acquainted with words. Learn to communicate via the right use and via right choice of words. Now, here is another tip. And let me know in the comment section how, all right, this is helping you. And that will determine, whether I should take it further even in the next episode. Now, this is very important. You must learn to listen to people, to situations, and to yourself. Learn to listen to people, to situations, and to yourself. The best among communicators, both those that speak and those that write, the best of the best are very good listeners. John C. Maxwell was quoting someone many years back, and he said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You must listen to people. What does that mean? In your everyday to-day life, in the bus, in the cab, in the taxi, in the plane, you're paying attention. What are people saying? What are their ordeals? What are they grappling with? Now, when you already know what you want to write about, that already decides your genre. Okay, I'm writing along these lines. That would mean that when you have day-to-day conversations and you are conscious, all right, of your subject, there is a way some issues and scenarios over time will play out and will be a useful material even for what you're writing. Yes, and that's how it works. So you must give yourself to listening. Listen to people. Sometimes even do research. I've been working for some 6-7 months now on a book on women, in ministry and things like that. And last year, I had to release a questionnaire to about maybe 60 to 70 women, maybe or thereabout. We got feedbacks, not all of them, but a good number of them, commissioner, female women, and all. Now, why did I do that? I wanted to know how women think about certain issues, social, cultural, and doctrinally. So I asked all kinds of women to different age ranges. I want to see how they think about issues. And by collating what they have said, it helps my research. So if you're not given to asking questions as a writer, you may be an author that is speaking to no one. So you'll be an author without audience. And somebody has said, you are not leading if nobody is following. People don't want to go to bookshops and buy books that they do not need, and they do not know who needs it. All right, so that is very key. Listen to people, all right? Listen to situations. That's why finance books, health books, cook books, they will keep selling. Women book, You know why? People will relationship books. People will always want to read those things. But you see, that's why you must listen to God. You don't have to write every book. Why? You are not an expert in every area, and you may not be graced to write, in every niche. So you must be careful of that. So that in the name of being an author, you don't dabble into what you don't even understand. Now, that said, let me say this. Immerse yourself in the message that you are trying to communicate. Immerse yourself. Let it be that all through your writing period, you are immersing yourself. And let me give you an advice. What will also work, and I'm giving you this for free. Don't trivialize YouTube. Normally, people would not even want to tell you this. Don't trivialize YouTube when you're researching. YouTube has a lot of academic, educational materials to help you, more than some social media handles where it's just dancing and playing. And then sometimes, even on some of those social media, apps, if you tailor your search, you'll be surprised what you will find, right? So be intentional about your use of social media. Make sure it helps you immerse yourself in the idea so that it either expands or it breaks. There is a way when there is enough tension on an idea. If it breaks, that means it's not worth it. You may just use it as a Facebook post and forget about it. There are people who are trying to turn a Facebook post to a book. The Facebook post did not get feedbacks. There was no traction. Nobody responded. It was a low quality content. And they said, this will be my book. And people are like, what you are saying does not even really, hold water. So you must know if it is a high value content or a low value content. Now, ask these questions. Ask these questions. What exactly is my message? What is the message of this book? This is the first book I ever, published, printed and published. Equip Volume 1. Preparing the believer for an impactful life and ministry. And there are things to learn, all right, about book covers, about subtitles, about introductions, about chapter arrangement, about fonts and some of these things. We'll get to that, in another video. But listen, you must ask, what is the message of this book? Why did I write this book? Oh, I wrote it because I want to see my name in front of a book. You can easily go to a photocopier, right? And just use your Word document, put your name there, put colors and print and say, this is my name. No, it's more than that. The message is greater than the messenger. All right, but the message comes from the messenger. So you ask, what is the message? Number 2, you want to ask, who am I writing to? So who will be your audience? My Konji book, my audience, I know the age range. From 14 to 50. If other people read it, thank God for them. But from 14 to 50, yes, that's my target. As many young people that will get, even married people. Why? Because marriage does not free you from your libido. And the Spirit of God is the spirit of self-control. And so there are a lot of dynamics to work. And that was what I tried to labor to do. So you must ask, what is the message? Who am I writing to? You're not writing to everybody. You're not writing to primary school children and then you're writing to those that are about to die next week. No. Third question you want to ask, how will it improve their lives? Nobody wants to part with their money for a material that does not help to improve their lives. Don't say, well, since writing is my hobby, I just want to print books. I just feel like writing. Nobody cares what you're writing if it does not add any value to their lives. So if it will not improve their lives, better shelve it or throw it in the dustbin. In fact, every solid author will tell you that they have materials that they know is not worthy to go to the press. It's just there. Why? They know by themselves. Now, let me give you the final point for now. Avoid plagiarism. Avoid plagiarism. And I'll teach you how to, avoid plagiarism. Plagiarism is a sin. Plagiarism is unfair. People labor, research, study, pray, plan, invest to write books. And people will literally remove the front cover and the first cover of the book and put their cover and their names and start selling. Yes, it has happened many times. Some will not even do that. They will just do what we call heavy lifting. They would lift chapters of a book and not reference the author. See, the way not to plagiarize is, number one, develop your own original thoughts. Whether you like it or not, everybody is actually going to, at some point, get inspiration or learn from somebody that has written something along that line. All right? You would agree with me. In all sincerity, that's how it works. So that's why when you read my books, for example, you're going to see references or notes, the study Bibles I use, the commentaries I consulted, the authors I used. And what does that do? It gives you intellectual honesty. It gives integrity and worth to your books. All right. I could literally bring out my books and you would see, all right, the names and the references and the materials. That's how it should be. And don't tell me because you're a Christian, you just keep saying somebody once said. That does not make sense. In fact, if it is an unknown author and you have browsed, you've tried to search, and truly it's an unknown author, when you cite it, write unknown author. Don't say, well, I just learned, it just came to me now. It didn't just come to you now. Be sincere. All right. A lot of young writers make that mistake, or beginners in writing. They make that mistake. They make it look as if all the ideas came from heaven. No, it didn't. Somebody somewhere said something. In fact, people in the realm of research, especially in academia, they don't take your work seriously if you don't have references. Imagine you were writing your final year project and you said, I thank the Holy Spirit for inspiring me to write this awesome 470-page book. It just came from the Holy, it was a dream, and everything, it was the Holy Spirit. I thank God and I thank my supervisor. You can be sure that that material, you will need to go and redo it. That's how it works. Why? There's even what is called peer review. All right. You want people to critique your work and give you feedbacks. That's why when I release books, one of the things I'm looking for is reviews. Not so that people can just praise me. Everybody likes to be appreciated. We're all humans. But beyond ego massagement, you want to see what people have to say. All right. Does it add value? Does it really make sense? What is the star rating? All right. And when you have people who are not biased and can really give you the truth, you will know whether to take it back for, reprint and proper, better editing and things like that, or to just leave it, and it's good. So avoid plagiarism, meaning you're going to cite the author's works that you use. If they are 50, cite them. If they are just 2, cite them and cite them properly. Don't say, Kevin, the power of God. No, which Kevin? Is it Kevin Joe? All right. So it's very important. So cite the authors, make references, and then when you are using your words, make it clear. Don't be ambiguous. Don't try to sound like the Puritan of the 16th century. Don't say thou knowest. You are in the 21st century. We will already begin to wonder whether you got it maybe from John Owen or somebody, or the King James version of the Bible. Just be clear about it. So avoid plagiarism. All right. I hope that this is a good, beginning to start with, and I hope that it helps you. Now, I'll answer a few questions that, was asked me yesterday. I heard a preacher say that in ministry, you must have people that follow you before you start writing. That's a nice idea, but I tell you as an author, it's not true. It is not having a following that determines when you should start writing, but having a following can determine when you should start publishing. Writing and publishing are two different things. You have already started writing before you decided to really write. I hope you know. You've been writing. We've all been writing. It's just that you have not had maybe an idea of a book. All right. But if you want to say, when should I start publishing books? Then, there are tips for that. And I'll show you that maybe in another video. When to start publishing books. It's not when you feel like publishing books. There's nothing like that. If you do not have, and that's why I advise people, if you don't have a blog, you don't have a functional social media handle, you are not a pastor, you don't mentor people, there is nobody really follow, you don't have an audience at all, you shouldn't rush into publishing. It can affect you. Especially if you invest money in self-publishing, it may affect you. It's going to cost you a lot. All right. And then your books will just be in your shelves and nobody's reading them except you and maybe the rats around or some of those things. But that's not what you want to do. Okay. So I would advise the person, you can start writing. Start writing, but don't rush to publish. All right. So that later you will not feel terrible that you rushed too early. I remember when I showed one of my disciples, my book many years ago. My disciple said, keep this book for 5 years. Then after 5 years, you can start releasing books. It was not easy for me, but I waited. And I can tell you that decision paid off. Because in those 5 years, I did not stop writing. I was writing, but I was not publishing anything. Do you understand it? All right. Another question here is, how do you section your writing into chapters and give titles to your different thoughts? Now, the way to section your writing into chapters is very simple. There will be, for example, let's say this is the book I want to release, okay? But it's not yet a book form, but it's in my mind as an idea. Equip. Now, because equip is a very broad word, okay? Who do I want to equip? What is, we mentioned about niche, about the kind of people you want to reach, your target audience. Then I want to say, okay, equip on sexuality, for example. Then you want to come to ask yourself, okay, what are the issues that are being raised in the realm of sexuality? What do young people grapple with in the area of sexuality? What do old people grapple with? All right, what aspects of sexuality? Do I want to inform them about homosexuality, lesbianism, gay, transgender, queer, and some of these things? So someone may ask, how do you section your thoughts? All right, you're writing into chapters and give titles to your different thoughts. Practice make perfect. You need to write a lot, right, to be able to understand how these things work. But for me, as a beginner, when I started, what I would do is I just find a small jotter, something of this sort, something small, all right? And then I would just write, the title I may be considering. We'll talk about that later, because your initial titles may not fly and they may need to change, but your message, will still remain intact. Now I want to check, okay, these are the 5 things I want to talk about. Don't give all your time to trying to craft the chapter title. No, that's not your assignment. Okay, I want to talk about how rape impacts on teenagers, how abuse impacts on adolescents. That's what you want to do. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this. Just a rough sketch. Don't seek perfection when you start writing. Until you are done and you know that you have birthed something. Let the perfection be done by experts, professionals. We'll talk about that later. Those that understand how to edit and help you even frame your words and phrase it better. Okay? So when you already have the idea, these are the things I want to talk about, then you start writing. The more you start writing, and I will tell you this, don't edit while you are writing. You will not go far. You'll be frustrated and you may never have a book. Don't edit. Just don't say, oh, the typo errors, I need to be excellent. Our God is a God of excellence. I understand it, but I'm telling you, it's a big temptation, because the average writer who is giving himself to learning and to writing is going to want to suddenly become a perfectionist, and you don't want there to be any mistake. But listen, forget about making mistakes now and just keep writing. Let the thoughts keep flowing, keep expanding. Later, professionals would handle that. Now, somebody said, also, can we sort materials and make reference to them now in our writing? Of course, because I've always done that too. Do we need to make reference to all the book that inspires our thought in the writing? Not necessarily. But if you are citing what the author said, especially word for word, it's okay to say Dostoevsky said. It's okay to say Shakespeare said. All right? It's okay to say Olanrewaju said. You must, if you're using their words, cite them. Listen, citing others does not reduce your value as an author. In fact, if you are citing very sound authors, what it does is that it gives credibility. Okay? It rubs off on you. I've read certain books where the author of this commentary is citing another commentary that I also have, and I'll even go and check it to see if it's true. And then it gives the person more credibility in my mind that, wow, okay, this is good. This is good. I can trust this person. But if you cite nobody and you make it look like you all came from heaven, nobody's going to respect your writing. Now, somebody else is saying, now let me tell you this. Somebody here is saying, oh, God told me and gave me an instruction that I must release a book when I'm 30. You see, I don't have a problem with that, but again, all right, let's be humble and let's be careful. When you start by saying God told me, sometimes it may not be so. In fact, there are people that claim that God told them to release a book at a certain date. Until tomorrow, they've not released the book. Two things it would mean: either they did not hear God well or they were disobedient. But it has to be either one of the two, because God cannot tell you release a book at 30 and then he now said, okay, don't release a book at 30, I was just playing. God does not play dice. All right. But if it's true that you want to release a book at 30, one of the things you need to do is that you need to know your age. If you are 28 now, that means you have 2 years to prepare. If you are 29 and it's 6 months to your birthday, maybe you want to release the book on your birthday or within that, that year. You are the one that will decide how much work you want to put into it. But if you already have the content on ground and it is just to release, what you now want to do is you want to send it to other authors or people of your peer or even superior that can critique you without bias. Because you see, once you say God told me, now I believe that God can inspire people and lead people and guide people for sure, because he does to me. But once you're very used to saying God told me and you are writing books as an author, if you keep saying God told me in your books, people will shy away from your books after a while, especially people that think critically, because they will feel this is a redundant thought and you said God told you this redundant thing. God will not do that. And you want to represent God well. Sometimes just say, I think. It's better than claiming God told me in everything. After a while, your book will be boring. Okay? And please do not claim visions and dreams if you didn't have any, so that you will not be lying, all right, in the name of telling stories that can captivate. You do not need that. Now, one more thing. There's another question here. All right. When it comes to book covers, what should I do? All right. I'll just give you this final one. And then if you drop more questions in the next episode, I will also answer them. When it comes to book covers, what should you do? Number one, find a cover designer that understands book cover design. There are graphic designers that can design banner for crusades, but cannot design cover for books. And that is true. Number one, some of them are not exposed to the book world. Number two, some of them don't read at all. They don't read books, so they don't even know, all right, how to present in image form the idea behind the book. All right. For example, all right, there are some of my books here, and I could show you. Now, this is Contending for the Faith, right? When you look at the background, you know this is warfare. There is warfare ongoing. You can't write Contending for the Faith and then you show a baby busting a balloon. That does not, listen, your cover design must convey the message of the book, at least to a reasonable level. You want to write on speed, and then you're showing a snail that is snoring. Well, maybe that's the opposite of speed. And then you are showing children dancing. No, that's not. Your cover design must convey, and that's why you either need to pay a cover designer to do an excellent job for you, or you need to learn how to make cover design yourself. But I bet you it's better to pay somebody who is a professional. And if they charge you high, don't feel bad. For example, if you reach out to me privately, I could recommend some of the guys that do my covers for me. I've seen people tell me that my covers are very nice, and I appreciate that. But you know that you have to pay for it. All right, it's not cheap and it's not free, but it's going to help the credibility of your message. Do you know that in the realm of writing, there are those who say, don't judge a book by its cover? That does not apply to book printing and publishing. People judge books by their covers and by their titles. While growing up, there are books that I've bought because I just like the cover. The way it's so attractive, only to open it and find out there's nothing so much there. But at least I bought the book. So your cover must be attractive. Your cover must tell the message. Then you want to go to your title. Don't use a vague title. Don't say, this title I'm using is a Chinese word. When they open it, they will understand. No. You want your title to communicate. to be catchy. It should speak. All right. It should have that pull to it. Okay. It should steer the emotions, or it should create interest, or it should be able to stick to the mind. In fact, those who read my works, once they hear equip, they think about me. Some people, once they hear thrive, they think about me. They say, this is the thrive man. Why? Because I wrote a book titled Thrive No Matter What, and put a palm tree as the eye. And that really made sense. In fact, we had hoodies. People bought the hoodies. They just love that concept. And truly, you know that a palm tree and a coconut, truly, it has the capacity to thrive. You see? So it makes sense. It makes sense. Now, also, when it comes to your cover design, you can actually give a designer an idea, but don't try to control the designer. Designers hate it when you are choking them, all right, and hindering them from releasing their creative ability. All right, just tell them this is the idea, let them work. Maybe they give you 2 samples from which you now choose. Okay, so most of my cover designs, not all, but most of them, I tell them this is what I have as an idea. Sometimes I even screenshot images, all right, of the way I think it should look like. Then they will go to work. All right. Now, another thing with cover design is your font. The font of your name and of the book title must make sense. If the title of the book is not really known, people may think it's just a textbook. Okay. That's why most books, for example, if you see cookbooks, from the front page, the cover, you just know, this is on how to make soup, all right, how to bake cake, that's how it works. So the design must be appealing. It must carry the message. Your name should, to an extent, or unless you don't want your name to be too bold, your name should it should be legible. Let's know this is the author of this book. All right. And then please, after having your title, always have a subtitle to your book. If you don't imagine this book is just equip, it is not enough. The subtitle, preparing the believer for an impactful life and ministry. So the reader, all right, or intending reader has an idea. Okay, this is talking about a Christian and ministry. Yes. Striving for the mastery. How should we live before how should we live before we live? Ancient pathways, all right, rediscovering the ancient truths, all right, of our fathers. You know, think like that. For example, in contending for the faith, I said, holding forth sound doctrine in a time of itchy ears. Now you already know, okay, that's punchy. There is an issue on ground that needs to be addressed. So you must have the title and a subtitle. It really helps, all right, your book. Now, another thing you must understand is the spine. People don't really talk about this, but it's very important. The spine of your book. Make sure that your title is legible on the spine of your book. This is the spine. Your title must be legible on the spine of your book, at least. Even if your name is not there, but at least let your title be there. But it is better if you have the title and you have your name. All right, that's much better. That way, even if it's in the shelf, they can see your name and then see the title. Or depends on what you choose. But at least the title should be there. It should not be blank. It should not be blank, or else we won't know what the book, all right, is about. Then let's go to the back cover as I wrap up on that question. Your back cover must contain about the book and about the author. Okay? Look at it. About the book and about the author. I've seen books that have a lot of about the author, and then there's nothing about the book. When people want to buy books, people want to know what is the book talking about. At least they just need a few paragraphs, maybe 2 or 3. They just want to know what is in it for me. And please, when you're writing about the book, think of the customers, think of the reader, identify and highlight what they will benefit if they get the book. Don't say, I've been wanting to write this book and I'm just so happy I've written it now. You know, I'm happy that if you just get to read it, I'm happy. No. No, people are not buying the book for you. They are buying the book for them. Because people are selfish in a way. People want it for themselves. So you want to write about the book in a concise manner. And please check for typo errors. Although, as humans, we all make mistakes. Even the best of the best. And I don't want to mention names. All right, so that there's no spoiler to anyone's books. Even the best of the best, sometimes, even in their back page or even in the inner layout. Of course, sometimes you also see 1 or 2 errors Even in my books, I mean, it's just human error. But try to reread. And don't only reread yourself, the content of your book and the back cover. Ask others to help you look at it. Because sometimes what you forgot that it is HAS, and autocorrect in the person's system, the printer system, says AS. If you're not careful, you're going to look like somebody that does not understand English, and it's going to affect your credibility in a way. All right, so you want to be sure to read again, but let your about the book be more than your about the author. All right, as you grow, you know, as an author, you would have to learn this. About the author should be quite concise, or better yet, go to, all right, the last page of your book, or the second to the last page, and then write your, all right, the detail you want to fill. Write all of it there. But let your about the author not be too much, and let about the book, you know, even be more. And of course, your book should have ISBN. In Nigeria, I don't think it's more than 10K or 15K. I know people really charge. In fact, some people say it's free, but I pay for mine, and it's just that it's not so, you know, so much. You can reach out if you need help, you know, with that. So that said, your name boldly written or properly written, your title, your subtitle, the spine, the back cover. You are the one that will now decide whether it's glossy paper you want or matte lamination. You know, all that would be between you and the printer, but it is very important to understand these basics. And I hope that this helps you and adds value to you. I am passionate about helping people to write and to publish their books. So I actually teach from cover to cover, from the front cover of the book to the chapters, to the inner layout, to the formatting, all right, even to the back cover, the printing, and then the marketing, the publishing. I can help from step 1 to the final stage. And so maybe you need help with your writing goals and you need to consult someone, you know, you can reach out to me and I'll be willing to help you. I also have a material, a Microsoft Word document that you can read in about 2 to 3 hours, all right, properly put together to help you see the inner dynamics of writing and publishing, all right, that you may not find, you know, all around. And it has worked for me. And if you reach out, it's not too expensive. If you reach out, you know, I could, you know, get it across to you. I hope this helps you. Please leave a like in the comment section. All right. Sorry, leave a like and then leave your comments. Let me see the point that really resonates with you, and do well to share with friends. I'll look forward to hearing from you, and God bless you.